Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going over some tips that can help you pass your tech interviews. Now, preparing for interviews is not easy. There's so much information out there, it's easy to get confused. So I've compiled a list of some tips that can hopefully help you guys in clearing your tech interviews. Now, these tips are based on some of my experiences that I've had giving interviews. Interviews are typically divided into two parts. You have your behavioral questions and then you have your technical questions. Now, behavioral questions, or as I like to call them, storytelling questions, are these type of questions where you have to tell a story. For example, tell us about a time you fixed a conflict, or tell us about a time when you were in a conflict and then you resolved it, and how. So the interviewer here wants to know about a bit of your experiences. They want to know how you've solved problems, what problems you faced, and how you come to solve them. So another thing that they're looking for here is your social skills, your communication skills, how well you can communicate a story with them. So one framework that really helped me in my behavioral interviews was the STAR method. So STARR, situation, task, action, result, reflection. So situation. So your answer should always begin with some context or with some background information. So you want to make sure the interviewer knows all the prerequisite information. So they should be able to understand and flow with the story. Task. This is like where you tell what the problem or the stuff that was needed to be done after you've given a bit of context. So the third part is action. This is where you tell them what you did and how you did that. And then you follow that up by result. What you did and what was the outcome by some of your actions, what could have happened if you did some other things. And then the last one is reflection. Now you can reflect on, okay, I went through this experience, I think I could have done this differently, I learned this in the process, stuff like this. So make sure to use this framework in answering some of your behavioral questions. This is something that definitely helped me in some of my interviews, is because there's so much going on in your mind before an interview or even during an interview. You're not really sure how to say stuff, like how to structure your answers. So you can follow the STAR framework to help you structure some of your answers. And just remember to just be calm in your interviews, be concise, be specific. Like don't speak too much, like don't talk too much, just keep your answers to the point. And one thing that happened with me is like talking too much, like sometimes you forget like what your initial point even was. Like that happened to me like once in one of my interviews. I was telling a story and then I forgot like where I actually began with that story. So make sure you don't do that mistake. You keep your answers short. And there isn't a set way to prepare for these type of questions, like behavioral questions. Like they're just so open-ended, so sometimes even random. Like one thing you could do perhaps is like just look up online for common like questions asked software engineering interviews and go about that, and just make sure your answers are always they have a structure, so they have a start, a middle, and an end. Now moving on to the technical bit, my first tip is Leetcode. Leetcode will make Leetcode your best friend. Like dream about Leetcode, eat with Leetcode, sleep with Leetcode. Like do as many problems as you can and focus on the easy problem. Like don't touch, you can do a bit of medium if you've completed a lot of easy problems, but don't touch the hard ones. I highly doubt you need to do those ones, but just focus on the easy. Try to get them done as much as possible. One technique that I used to optimize my time doing Leetcode questions was give each problem about 20 to 30 minutes. If you can't figure it out, look at the solution, look up a video online, and then try to understand that solution, why it works. Try not to spend like more than say like 30-40 minutes max on one problem, and then repeat this process again and again for all the different easy problems. My second tip for the technical part is practice speaking out loud. Now this is something that's really important. One of the things the interviewer is looking for when they give you a technical problem is how you can break that problem down, how you go about like structuring the solution for that problem. So they want to like get a glimpse of what your thinking process is, how your computational skills actually apply to a given problem. And one of the ways, or I think the only way they do that, is by what you communicate. So just practice speaking out loud. Perhaps when you're doing your Leetcode questions, maybe record yourself and try speaking whatever's in your head out loud. The more you say, the better. It's always good to say more during a technical problem than to say less, because that way the interviewer knows what you're thinking, and perhaps they can even give you some hints if you're going in the wrong direction and so on. And then my last tip is to watch other people give interviews. Now this is one thing that I did a lot and that helped me a lot as well, was watching other people give interviews. So there's plenty of mock interviews on YouTube. Just look up like some programming technical interviews on YouTube that lets you know like what type of tone the interviewer uses when they're asking questions, and what type of how a person who is like doing the technical bit, how they communicate information. That's really important as well. So make sure you carefully observe. You watch some like online mock interviews. You carefully observe what people are doing in those interviews, and that can also help you a bit. It gets you familiar with what to expect in an interview. So whenever you're in an interview situation, speaking, you feel comfortable, like, okay, I've seen people go through this, like I know this is how it happens and this is how I should behave. So that's also another thing that can help you. So that's about it. Those are my quick 4 tips on how you guys can better your interview prep journey. These are 4 things that helped me a lot. So that's about it for this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how you thought of this video, and if you have any questions or any other videos that you want me to make in the future, be sure to be on the lookout. I have a couple interviews coming with some amazing industry people soon, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.